Hello and welcome to Lunchtime Politics. First, the highlights. 24 hours after senators-elect receive their certificate of return, it's the turn of the House of Representatives-elect at the International Conference Centre, Abuja. Court of Appeal to rule on INEC's request to vary BVAS following PDP and Labour Party's plea for inspection of election materials. Plus, ahead of the governorship election, Yobe APC members reconcile pledge support for Governor Mai Mala Buni. Welcome again. I'm Millicent Walker in Lagos, and happy International Women's Day as we continue to be the ray of sunshine wherever we are. We kick off in the courtrooms where the Court of Appeal Abuja is sitting today to rule on the application by the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC to be allowed to reconfigure the bimodal voter accreditation system BVAS used for the presidential and National Assembly elections. A three-member panel led by Justice Joseph Ikie also adjourned to decide on the applications filed by the Labour Party, the PDP and their presidential candidates to be allowed to conduct a physical inspection of all the BVAS that was used for the poll. And for the president-elect, Bola Tinubu, he's also seeking an order from the Court of Appeal to access sensitive materials used by INEC for the conduct of the presidential election. In the meantime, the Labour Party's presidential candidate, in a series of tweets earlier today, said he was supposed to commence his whistle-stop campaign for the various Labour Party governorship and state assembly candidates today. But this trip, he said, was to take him to Nasarawa, Lagos, Enugu, Abia, Delta, Edo, Rivers, Plateau and Borno State. The tweet further reads, however, following INEC's refusal to allow our party to inspect the materials, including BVAS, from the 25th February presidential elections, I am personally heading to the court today with our lawyers. As we pursue due process and defer to the rule of law, he urged all the obedience in the various states to continue campaigning for his party's candidates in Lagos, Enugu, Plateau, Abia, Delta states. We'll continue to bring you the latest when we get them. Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, is raising the alarm over what it describes as a plot by INEC to erase data from the BVAS machines that were used in the presidential and National Assembly elections. National Publicity Secretary of the party maintains that INEC's decision to go ahead with the reconfiguration of the machines, despite a court order restraining it, indicates that the Commission has something to hide.
We have called you to alert Nigerians and the international community of the atrocious move by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to destroy and erase evidence of its intolerable rigging of the February 25, 2023 presidential election. Late yesterday at 10:10 p.m., note that time, 10:10 p.m. yesterday, INEC, in a desperate move to prevent our party and candidate from obtaining necessary evidence as ordered by the court, filed a motion requesting that it be allowed to reconfigure the BVAS machines and wipe out relevant information that our party and candidate require to prosecute our case at the Presidential Election Tribunal. INEC admitted that, and I quote from their own document, which is here, the motion that they filed in court, which is here. They said, BVAS application stores the accreditation data for all voters accredited on the device for the presidential, senatorial districts, and House of Representatives election conducted on the 25th February 2023. And that the reconfiguration of the BVAS devices, quote from their words, entails purging the accreditation data on the BVAS devices. So what they are hoping is to purge those information.
Musa Abdullahi. Seidu Musa Abdullahi.
And we are seeing live visuals at the International Conference Center, where indeed 24 hours after the senators-elect received their certificates of return, INEC is handing out certificates of return to their counterparts in the House of Representatives. The legislature is an important arm of government that complements the executive and the judiciary in a presidential system of government. In the House of Representatives, according to the Commission, the All Progressives Congress garnered about 162 from the 360 seats. The PDP got 102, Labour Party 34, the New Nigeria People's Party 18, All Progressives Grand Alliance 4, SPD and ADC got 2 each, while the YPP won 1 seat. According to INEC, in last Saturday's elections, winners were declared for 423 national legislative seats. And of course, for the House of Representatives, we have about 325 out of the 360 seats that have been won by about 8 political parties. It also shows that there are several seats where supplementary elections will hold, and also a number of seats where there are court orders.
Magama Rijau. Shehu Saleh Rijau. Shehu Saleh Rijau. Chiroro Rafi Muya. Ismail Musa Modibo. Ismail Musa Modibo.
Indeed, the members there receiving their certificates of return. But let's talk to our guest who's joining us virtually. He's a former House of Representative member and Pro Tem Secretary General, National Coalition for Peace and Unity, Dr. Kairo Jugbo. It's good to see you. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, we can. I'd like to ask first, and this is there any significance in the list of National Assembly members for the 10th National Assembly?
You can see that the normal distribution has been somehow altered. But now the leading party should have well over 50% of the winners, but it didn't turn out to be so. Reasons are obvious. That is why the National Coalition for Peace and Unity has always spoken about peace. And then going forward, we need absolute peace so that the by-elections for the remaining seats can be conducted. When we have peace, it is very probable that the leading party will now cross over the 50% mark. And that will make it easier to constitute the principal offices of the National Assembly. For the first time, for a very long time, this is, and indeed, for the first time in this country, this is the first time it is happening. It means that the current government has achieved a lot in the conduct of election. There are a lot of positives to be taken from the last presidential and National Assembly election. The diversity of the winners is very encouraging, and it should be made more as time goes on. Somehow, the BVAS that has been very controversial has done something good. It has enabled the smaller parties to have the fair representation of what it is. If it were in other system of governance, like you have in France and you have in Switzerland, in France, for instance, the number of persons in the cabinet is representative of the measure and the number of people that has won the seats in Parliament. Of course, in parliamentary system in England is quite different. While the winner will form government, the losers will form a shadow cabinet. So everybody is involved in governance. But in the presidential system, it's winner takes all, except the winner is magnanimous enough to say, all right, I don't want problem. I want to constitute a government of national unity, which persons are, and then even the winner is contemplating in doing. To form a broad-based government of national unity, to bring everybody together, to make everybody participatory in a form of government that will take the interest of everybody, including the youths that have been very vociferous in the affairs of this country for the last 3 years. This is the time to accommodate them. And when you listen to the winner, he has always said that this is the time to listen to the youths. He said, the youths have heard you loud and clear. I hope I'm not speaking too much. I don't want to take your time.
We invited you, so we're glad you could join us. But I'm sure that, the visuals we're seeing, those who are collecting their certificates, and, we saw the senators-elect yesterday, senators now collect their certificates. It's reminiscent of, for you, who used to be a former lawmaker. What do you think is going through their minds? And this is also considering the task before the executives. If you think that these lawmakers will contribute to preparing the incoming administration for a good takeoff of the tasks.
Sorry. Yes, I lost you for a while, but I think I captured your question. Your question is, what do I think? How do I think the executive will, what do I think the executive will make up of the current configuration of the National Assembly? Well, it is best for the voters. The reason is that when you have a competitive National Assembly like we have now, then the government has to sit up. If you have an omnibus National Assembly where there is an absolute majority, it is easier for the executive to control the National Assembly and have their way. But now that it is somehow well and even almost evenly distributed, the executive would have to sit up and do what is best for the society. Where I think that Asiwaju would do best, because he will be able to work with a balanced National Assembly as it is, so to speak. Well, the government will now listen more to the people through the National Assembly. For instance, we know what is paramount in the minds of people in this country today. Number one, restructuring. Number two, the economy. Number three, security. Number four, education. But of all these, the most important is security and peace. Because if you don't have security and if you don't have peace, you will not have security.
Thank you, Doctor.
They are partners. And I believe that Asiwaju is capable enough to be able to handle this.
We appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Former House of Representative member and Pro Tem Secretary General, National Coalition for Peace and Unity, Dr. Cairo Ojugbo. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Is that all? I thought I will spend more time because I have more to say.
But perhaps another time. We appreciate your time. We need to go on break now and continue with other stories. Well, we are going to go on a short break. When we return, we have more on party politics as over 10,000 PDP members, supporters, dump a party for the All Progressives Congress. That's in Katsina State. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Ahead of Saturday's governorship election in Delta State, the National Executive of the Labour Party has dissociated itself from any endorsement of the All Progressives Congress governorship candidate Ovie Omoagege. The National Chairman, Special Duties Committee, Emeka Mandela, who led other Labour Party chieftains and leaders in a press conference in Asaba, disclosed that the purported alliance with the APC made by a group last week does not have the support of the party. They've asked members of the Obedient Movement to disregard such endorsement and go ahead to cast their votes against the APC on Saturday, the 11th of March.
Some news making rounds that the Obedient family of Delta States have endorsed and is supporting the APC candidates for the 11th general elections of gubernatorial and state assembly. Please, to the viewers out there listening and to all supporters of Labour Party and the Obedient struggle, this is a false news. We've come here to debunk such rumors saying that the Obedient family are supporting the APC for the next elections coming up on Saturday. Let it be on record that the APC has plunged Nigeria into darkness. Let it be on record that the APC has put sorrow over the land. And the youth of Nigeria are still mourning. We are sad, and we are using Saturday as an expression of the demonstrations we should have been doing on the streets by now. We decided to shield our sword of the demonstrations that you would have been seeing happening around the nation, to take that demonstration to the polls on Saturday against APC.
Badebo is not a politician. He's an activist. That is his core.
Area
that is
of Lagos.
the core
Let's listen in.
character of Badebo. When he came out after school, he was leading marches to the legislature. He was debating with the Minister of Agriculture. And this was the GMO thing. You see, the thing with an activist is that the activist is revolted by injustice, by anything that's unfair. Immediately he reacts and he begins to lead processions and marches and goes on TV, and so that was Badebo for you. So Badebo at heart is somebody that is just good. It's as simple as that. He's just a good man because he will react to anything negative, and he reacts violently.
Well, you were watching visuals from the press conference of the Lagos Labour Party that's taking place in the Keja area of Lagos State.
During his activism, he recognized that it would be difficult to change things as an activist, and so he decided to go back to school, did the master's in political science, and then decided to go into politics. Now, prior to this, when Badebo started school here at Chrisland, and then went on to ISL, that's the University of Lagos Secondary School. He didn't finish there, but he finished at EAB in Paris. And then this is where I noticed myself as the father that this boy was different too. There was this graduation ceremony. I was there in Paris. And the valedictorian was making his speech. But before he made his speech, he said that there is somebody here in this class. And you know that's a white class, so the French boys. He is black. There is somebody here in this hall who is responsible for what I am today. That's the valedictorian. That's the man who led the class. And he began to tell us about Badebo, that he didn't know this valedictorian was up on chemistry and physics, but that Badebo spent time, including going out in inclement weather where it was in winter and all that, to go and lecture him and teach him. And then now he is what he is. You can imagine how I felt. I was sitting there And, you know, he is not the valedictorian, but the valedictorian himself is admitting that this is the person who made him what he is. So you find that Gbadebo has this spirit of love. He has the spirit of, he can easily go into your situation and understand your situation and sit down with you and find a solution to it. This is what he brings to government. The second anecdote that I recall was one day at MIT. I called him and we were talking. He says he's spending 3 days, the third day in the studio.
Well, you have been listening to the father of Gbadebo road survivor who is vying for office under the Labour Party in Lagos State, speaking about the sterling qualities of his son and some of the things that he brings to the table. We continue with more stories, party politics, and this is the head of the governorship elections. The PDP supporters, in their numbers, have decamped to the ruling All Progressives Congress in Katsina State. The defectors mostly associates, we understand, of former governor of Katsina State, Alhaji Ibrahim Shehu Shema, were received by Governor Aminu Masari of the state at the council chamber of the General Muhammadu Buhari government house in Katsina.
We have some of the list of these PDP decampees that moved to APC. That is Honorable Alhaji Ibrahim Lawal Dankaba. He was the former special advisor to the former governor. He was the executive chairman of Kaita local government and member of Katsina State PDP caucus. One of them is Hajia Gimbia Aisha Isa Katsina. She was even the PDP senatorial aspirant for Katsina Central of this current dispensation we are in. And she was the member of the PDP Elders Committee, apart from her being a businesswoman. We have Alhaji Honorable Tijani Awali Tijani Mabo, who was one time chairman of Zango local government and one time a commissioner in Shema administration. We also have Honorable Bashir Tanimu Dusama. That one, he was one time a PA to the governor of Katsina State, Barrister Usman Ibrahim Shehu Shema. He was the former executive chairman of Dusama local government, a member of Katsina State PDP caucus currently, and he's a former of Northwest Zonal Secretary. We have also Alhaji Idris Kwado, who is a philanthropist and a businessman in Katsina State, who has been a supporter of PDP. Today he has dumped that party and he has moved to APC, and he is a member of the PDP Elders Committee. We have Honorable Jamilu Mama Abubakar Dan Musa. He was a former commissioner and a former contestant of the House of Representatives and a former PDP caucus. We have Alhaji Abdul Wahab Sanusto, who was a former councillor and a former vice chairman of Garama local government and former vice chairman of Katsina local government. So they came back to APC today with over 10,000 of their supporters into the fold of APC.
We have more political stories, and the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Mr. Atiku Abubakar, has named a 19-man legal team of senior advocates of Nigeria, where he says he wants his mandate reclaimed. We take it that this is also towards the electoral tribunal contesting the candidacy or the president-elect who was announced by INEC as the president-elect of the presidential elections, which held February 25. The former vice president, we understand, named and inaugurated the legal team in Abuja. And now at that inauguration, he charged the team to establish the claim of illegality of the February 25th presidential election and reclaim the mandate of the Nigerian people. More stories. The Niger State Police Command has been responding to allegations that a building was discovered where ballot papers and BVAS machines were found in Minna Metropolis. While the Police Command has categorically denied the allegations, saying that the publications do not reflect the true position of the incident. The command states that on the 5th of March, information was received and some persons were found in a building at Boso Estate. However, upon receipt of this information, they mobilized to the estate and contrary to the report on entering the building and based on investigation, it was discovered the information was untrue and false in its entirety. Well, elsewhere, the crisis rocking the River State chapter of the Labour Party may have taken a new dimension. This is as at a press conference, chairman of the River State chapter of the party announced the party support for the PDP candidates. This has not gone well with the Labour Party, and they've been making their displeasure felt, saying the chairman does not speak for the party and he may have been compromised by the promise of financial rewards. Elsewhere, a coalition of civil society organizations for Tinubu Shetima are asking politicians and political parties to stop protesting the results of the 2023 presidential election, which they say is a reflection of the people's choice. The group made the call at the headquarters of INEC in Abuja yesterday. And you've been served on Lunchtime Politics. Don't forget, you can join the conversation as it continues on our social media platforms on your screen showing there. Thank you for watching. I'm Millicent Walker. Bye for now.